What's up guys, Bo here. In this entry I want to talk about, is it wrong to follow your joy if your joy is inherently wrong, right? Because I did a vlog entry about, basically, when I explained about how to become more sensitive, I said one way is to follow your joy, and the other way is to accept your darkness, become aware of your darkness. But then, many people would have the question of, what if what I enjoy is something that is wrong, right? What if what I enjoy is something that is illegal, even, What if what I enjoy is something that people frown upon, that isn't accepted, that people make fun of and all of this stuff, right? And really, my answer to that is you have to do a bit of digging, right? But before that, I also want to say that joy is never wrong, right? And that's really the point of this video, is to tell you guys that no matter what it is that you enjoy, right? No matter what it is that brings you happiness, no matter the judgment you place on it, right? Joy is never misplaced, right? And the key is the difference between, the two axes of perception, right? So you have on the one hand, you have a vertical kind of perception, which is basically placing a moral judgment on the action or the identity, or the activity, whatever, that you attribute joy to, There's a moral judgment on that, and basically that is making you judge yourself, making you fight against yourself. But in reality, the joy, right? Let's forget, what it is that you actually enjoy for a second, Put that shit down for a second, right? Forget that shit and just focus on the emotion of joy, of happiness, right? The feeling that you get when you do that thing, Don't sweat at the moment about what that thing is and all of the judgment and all of the, people don't accept it, Just put that down for a second and focus on the joy, right? The joy is not fucking misplaced, right? The joy is genuine, right? Your sensitivity is never wrong, right? Your emotions are never wrong. They're always pointing you to something. And you need to learn to basically interpret that thing correctly, right? And transform it, right? The key, the horizontal axis of energy is about transformation, right? It's taking that energetic state, right? And then picking something that basically serves you in a practical way, right? So how I was explaining in the previous vlog entry about perspectives, right, is being open-minded enough to have, to assess multiple different perspectives, to hold on to multiple different perspectives and kind of pick the one that is resourceful to you, and then you can inject your joy into that, right? You can inject your joy into that. So that's the first thing, your joy is not wrong, right? Whatever it is, don't judge it for a second. But then once you've basically accepted that you do have this joy, so the next step is basically kind of accepting that it is, so first you acknowledge that your joy is right, and then the second step is kind of accepting that. Because you have so many kind of negative associations, right? Just that have been kind of socially conditioned into you, essentially. That you're basically in this paradigm, you're in this kind of habit of attacking yourself. So essentially, in your mind, you think that you're attacking, whatever it is that you enjoy that is kind of a bit wrong or taboo. You attribute that, you basically take it one step further and you judge your positive emotion. And that's when people start, telling themselves in their heads, life is not about being happy, life is about being suffering and all that shit. And you don't want to fall into that trap, right? You don't want to fall into the trap of like thinking that life is all doom and gloom. And basically, I'm telling you to kind of take it back, you know, a step, and realizing that basically it is a judgment that you've placed on something that is genuine. So all it takes is basically to analyze why it is that you have fallen in love with what you've fallen in love with, right? And one thing that I want to mention before I go on also is I want to kind of give a shout back to what I said about what I talked about in the light and shadow video, right? I mentioned that light and shadow, it's not about being right or wrong. It's moreover about being kind of resourceful and unresourceful, right? So it also applies to this, right? There is nothing really that is wrong, and I'm gonna do a whole kind of vlog entry about morality and like how it's very subjective, right? Even the things that are, you know, absolute sins, like it's very, very subjective. I also gave you an example about, you know, when it's right or wrong to kill someone, depending on, you know, what they've done and stuff like that. So it's very flexible. But one thing that might be useful to do is to basically take the thing that you are kind of judging, right? Whether that be kind of pursuing something that other people might view as kind of a bit Mickey Mouse, you know, like pursuing something like becoming a clown. I don't know, I'm just plucking examples out of my ass. Becoming some kind of shaman or something. I don't know, whatever it is, you know, just something that you think that you kind of have this guilty pleasure towards, but you kind of fear judgment from the people, right? Take that and then basically look at it from a different angle. So use a different perspective to see it, you know? Like, instead of asking, you know, instead of focusing on like what is wrong about this thing, you know, what is goofy or silly about this thing, instead shift your attention to, you know, what value can I provide using this thing, or how can I use this thing to express myself, and therein, you know, provide value to other people, you know, and basically see it in a different light. And then once you've tried seeing the activity from different lights, because this isn't like basically perspective is not really about, it's not identified yet, you know. Perspective is just, you know, just you thinking about it's just assessing something from different angles, right? So really, it's not this. What I'm telling you to do is not. I'm not telling you to basically make something right. So, you know, so for example, if you're addicted to smoking, or if you're addicted to gambling, or, you know, some other addiction like that, I'm not saying that this will necessarily make it right. What I'm saying is, first you need to stop punishing yourself, you know. It's an energetic thing. The first thing you need to do is to stop punishing yourself for following your joy, right? Can you see the difference, right? Like, I'm not saying like you need to make the action right, the symbolic action, or to do anything with the action, really. It's to basically get you to stop punishing yourself. Because like I mentioned already, you know, it is the thing behind the thing. The thing behind the thing is that you've subconsciously linked following your joy. You know, to you it's like, you know, your hobby or whatever it is. But then you've taken it a step further, and you've attributed following your joy with pain and shame and, you know, and badness, basically. And so the first step is to basically get rid of that shit, you know. Learn to basically follow your joy, essentially. That's what I mean by follow your joy, to become more sensitive, right? It means to stop punishing yourself for following your joy, you know, stop shaming yourself, stop feeling guilty, you know. Because those things are, like I mentioned in the sorry v guilt video, you know, that shit is not resourceful. It's useless. Get rid of it, right? That's the first step. And then once you have stopped punishing yourself for following your joy, then you have more perspective, right? you've detached from your identity, right? You've realized that like you don't have to be like that, you know, or you don't like that one passion doesn't necessarily have to be the one thing, and if you don't do that thing, like you're fucked, right? No, you then start to branch out, and you extract from the thing that you loved the essence of why you love that thing, right? And this is something actually you can do consciously as well to basically help you identify what you loved about that thing. So essentially, you're taking the symbolic action, whether it be smoking, gambling, you know, all of those things, or things that aren't necessarily resourceful, and you extract from those the thing, you know, the principles, the essence of that thing that actually brings you joy. So let's use like smoking, for example. Let's use those two examples. Smoking, right? Let's say you're a smoker. When you go down to the essence of why you enjoy smoking, why do you enjoy smoking? Why do you enjoy smoking? What is the feeling that you get from smoking? Well, smoking calms me down. Smoking de-stresses me, you know. Smoking, you know, allows me to think, you know, all of these things, right? And so that is the essence of why you enjoy smoking. So you can take that essence, and then you can basically look for other activities, other symbolic things, you know, other kind of like passions that have the same effect. So meditation, I don't know, swimming, like just sunbathing. I don't know what it is like, but then you take that thing, and you've taken the essence of what makes you enjoy it, and you've basically fucked off like the old activity that you used to do, that, you know, that made you feel like that, but also had a negative kind of side effects on you, right? Smoking gives you lung cancer, right? If you enjoy gambling, why do you enjoy gambling? It's because you get a thrill, you know, you get a sense of progress, you get a sense of risk, you know, you get a sense of adventure. So take that and become an entrepreneur, you know, become a I don't know, do extreme sports or whatever, you know. Think of different things that kind of embody the same feelings that you receive when you basically do that thing you love. You know, if you enjoy video games like I did, you know, what do you enjoy about video games? Well, I enjoy that, you know, it allows me to visit different worlds. You know, it allows me to fantasize and imagine something that is different from what already is. You know, that sense of wonder and adventure. You know, so I can take that and I can write novels. I could do public speaking. You know, I could do public storytelling, that kind of thing. There's so many things I could do. You know, so what it is your joy is not wrong, right? Whatever your joy is, first thing you need to realize is that it is not wrong. The second thing you need to do is to slowly basically detach from, first is to accept that your joy is not wrong, because becoming aware of that is one thing, but then, you know, actually accepting is a different thing. So accept it, and then slowly detach yourself from that one activity, you know. Well, that's the thing, you know, you might discover that thing actually isn't wrong, you know. For example, if you wanted to be like some kind of spiritual teacher, or like, you know, something like that, or an entertainer, or, you know, you might realize that like actually there's nothing wrong with that. It was just like fucking people like giving you shitty ideas about it, you know. But, you know, sit down with it and then analyze it. But then once you've analyzed it, you know, decide whether or not to keep it. And if you don't want to keep it, then like detach from it, but then also become aware of why you enjoy that thing, right? And then and then apply it to something else that is more resourceful, that has less cost in it, right? Again, perspectives, there are so many possibilities in life. You need to basically get out there. You need to get out of your, old ways of thinking, like your static ways of thinking. And you need to try new things and realize that, there's so much potential, And what just like that one thing that makes you happy, it might not be like one thing, it could be many things. So keep an open mind and do not judge your joy, because your joy comes from a genuine place. Cool? Right, well, I hope that was helpful, and I will see you in the next blog entry. Peace.